angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our worth was stone in our ashes, and we both passed on. Let forever mean forever and carry on.
Good afternoon. Wow, exhausted today. So we're still trying to work out, figuring out proper dosages and stuff like that for Kratom. Gin's been easier to get straight on that than what I have. So, you know, it is what it is. But it's absolutely incredible. She took some this morning, right when she got up, and went until probably, about 2 p.m.? Probably about 2 p.m. completely, would you say completely pain-free? Yeah, she says, yeah, pretty much completely pain-free. Now, you're talking about somebody that had a very hard time, of course, with their cerebral palsy and stuff like that. It doesn't help. But had a very hard time. Usually, you know, getting to about midday, she'd be dragging butt a little bit, and now she doesn't have any problems. So she took a little bit more, about 2:30, I guess it was, and so she's back to being pretty well pain free again. Myself, I've had a bit of a battle trying to get mine right. Because if you take too much, you can get nauseous, and so I've battled that a little bit, but I think I've got mine figured out too. We're only on the second day of this, so just got to work in those amounts. Unfortunately, there's no place you can go to. You know, you can get baselines, guidelines, and that's what we were trying to go by. So, you know, it is what it is, but man, I'll tell you what, it's got 2 big old thumbs up for me. We're tired because last night we took some a little bit later on. I think it was after the show was over. We took some, and no, it wasn't the energetic kind. And that's a mistake. Don't do that. Not that late. So I had big time problems sleeping. I probably only got 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours of sleep. I took a nap on the futon or the bluton today, and which helped refresh me a little bit, but I'm still dragging pretty good. So hopefully tonight we'll get some good rest, and tomorrow all will be well again. Reminder about tomorrow. Tomorrow will be our first Free Time Friday. Okay, so how that's going to work is I will come on the air, and between 4 and 5, roughly, give or take, I do my monologue, as you see now. And then, of course, at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Prepper Nurse 1 will be going on, and so we'll be restreaming his broadcast as well as moderating his chat. Between the hours of 5 p.m. Central Standard Time and 7 p.m. Central Standard Time is going to be what I'm calling Free Time Friday, and that's just going to be me paying attention to chat, because, folks, I don't look at that chat most of the time. I'm busy looking at all kinds of other things, being a button-pushing monkey. I don't look at the chat, so that's going to be the change. Instead of playing all the video content, we're not going to play the video content, and I'm going to be attentive to the chat and answering questions, looking up things people may have interest in. We're just going to try and see how that works out. So I personally think it's going to be a good thing. So let me see. Trying to think of any other updates. We've got an obvious topic to talk about today. You would have to be completely hidden underneath a rock within a cave to not have heard about the arrest of Julian Assange. So we're going to be discussing that. I've got a ton of links. I mean, just never-ending links that I put out today associated with that arrest. And so I'm trying to think the best way to handle this. Real quick, I just want to give the update on, and I don't know if it's an update from yesterday or not, but I'm going to give it anyway. We're at $11.15 in our Amazon affiliate program. So that's awesome. That at least we got above the $10, which is what I wanted to do. That way we don't have a dead month, so to speak. But anyway, if you'd like to add to that, it would be much appreciated. All you have to do is click on our Amazon affiliate link in the description of the videos, or you can go to thewatchmannews.com, and there's search boxes and recommended items. If you hover the store menu item, you got recommended, fire starting, water filtration, just different categories. I need to add to this. I'm behind, so I need to add to this. Let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else. Don't forget that over on prepreneurs1.com, not only is he still running the 20% off sale website wide until Sunday, but there's also a giveaway there that is going on, and you can win the 3-piece decal set. I think I've showed you guys before, but I don't think I showed you yesterday when I mentioned the giveaway. So far there's 37 entries to the giveaway. So get on over there, and it's through Rafflecopter, so not a big deal. I wanted something that I, was going to be completely legit, and everybody knew was going to be completely legit. And it is, that's just how I like to do things. You know what I mean? So it's not a big fancy giveaway thing, because I'm not going to pay all that money just to give something away. We're not like a giveaway channel or nothing. So it's just a plain Jane giveaway. And what it's for is the decal set, the 3-piece decal set. I'll show you real quick what that looks like. This here is 27 inches wide and 4 inches tall for that decal right there. Ideally, it would go in the back of a car, okay? And this here is, what are the sizes? It's 6 inches tall and I think 5.5 inches wide. The box is covering it. And you could put that on the side windows or whatever. I'm just giving suggestions of where those would go. So anyway, you can win a free one of those. They're normally $15.99. This is, it's photoshopped. I don't own this car. It's photoshopped onto that car to kind of give you an idea of what I was getting at with the design of the decals and stuff. So anyway, that's kind of the idea. Figured I would let you guys know about that giveaway. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to think of the best way to deal with this, because I've got 1.5 million links, and I'm just going to kind of go into it here. Let me have a sip of coffee. This is something that should be concerning all of us. Not just us, that do alternative news, alternative media, but also all of you. Because the worst nightmare you can imagine when it comes to news and information is censorship and the arrest of journalists. Now, what Julian Assange did, and I know there's many opinions out there, but what Julian Assange did was a service to we the people. Okay, if there are criminal things going on in our government, it is the job of the media to bring that to light. That is the job of, news media, to bring that to light, to make that known. So what he did was a huge, huge, huge service to we the people. And to see what's happening, and we all knew it was inevitable. to see what's happening is insane. Now, I kind of lost my train of thought there. There's just so much to this. There's absolutely so much to this. I will say this. A couple years ago or so, there was like an 88 gig insurance file or something like that that was released. And depending on what happened, there was going to be a oh wow, Prepper Nurse 1 just sold another t-shirt. That is awesome. I'm going to be one busy t-shirt making fool. I have a feeling. So anyway, I'm going to be a busy coffee cup making fool as soon as the printer gets here. Now that'll get here Monday. I was hoping it was going to get here tomorrow. In fact, their website said it was going to get here tomorrow. It'll get here Monday. So, like Mountain Girl, if you're out there, I know there was another gentleman that ordered a cup last night. Those will be shipped out, well, probably Tuesday, because I probably won't get the printer before the mail runs. You know the drill. So, anyway, that's cool. Another shirt. That is awesome. Everything is awesome. I was waiting to get hit upside the head by something. So, anyway, this thing, is so far-reaching and devastating when it comes to alternative news media. It's also intimidating. Okay, not so much for people such as myself, because I'm not an on-the-ground journalist. Okay, I'm not covering things that are going to get me in trouble. But people like this, okay, need to be held high and praised. Okay, not run into the ground, not jailed, not having their character assassinated. I believe it is Switzerland or something I'm seeing is thinking about reopening this rape case that was insane from the beginning because he wasn't even where the claim happened. So how's that work? I'm telling you, this is not good. And there are several different aspects that I see when I look at this. I think this was being instigated, and I'm not trying to play political sides here, okay? I'm just telling you how I feel, what I'm seeing. I think this was instigated by Democrats. And I think largely the reason for it was a matter of trying to get the news away from Attorney General Barr and his investigation to those that accused Trump of Russian collusion. I think they're trying to take the light away from that because it's getting serious, folks. I mean, we're talking, as far as that situation is concerned, we are talking like wiretapping type of stuff. Now, consider this for a moment, right? The stuff that Julian Assange made light to was about corruption, was about criminal activity of our government, much of against other governments. And then there was just other bits and pieces of stuff that was thrown in there, like, for instance, different comments, cables they call them, that Hillary Clinton had said when she was discussing other world leaders. And I mean, just absolutely being disgusting about her thoughts on other world leaders. And I mean, it was just insane. I remember this stuff. I don't remember it all, but I do remember bits and pieces of it. Remember, and I started to talk about it a while ago, and I didn't finish, my apologies, but like a couple of years ago, 2016, maybe going on 3 years ago, he released like an 88 gig insurance file, right, encrypted file, and said if anything were to happen to him, that the encryption key would be released. Now, I want you to ponder the thought that that is still out there. Okay? That is still out there. There are people that still have that file. Okay? All he's got to do is release that key, and everything to it is open. I hope he does it. I hope he does it. But I also want to take this situation in this moment to remind everybody to please, please, please get prepared. I'm begging you, get prepared. Because I am seeing so much going on. I look at this, and I believe it to be, and I'm talking about Assange, to be a double-edged sword. Because I think a lot of information is going to come to light now that probably wouldn't have otherwise. A lot of that is going to really demonize and criminalize Democrats. Okay? Not just Democrats, but a lot of it. So again, I think it's a double-edged sword. And then, no matter what, no matter how much you try to sway what the media is paying attention to and putting in front of your face, you still have the fact that Attorney General Barr is investigating these people. Attorney General Barr has accused them, and it's right there, right on your screen. U.S. Attorney General must retract or prove comments about spying on Trump campaign, says Schumer. Okay? So, that's called shitting or get off the pot. I'm telling you, I think the evidence is there. I think the proof is there. This is why I think that Assange arrest is Democratic inspired. Because I think they're trying to take the attention away from themselves, and they want this to go away, and I don't think it's going to happen. Not yet. Not yet. I mean, it very may well go away before it comes to a head, but I don't think this soon. So, why do we need to worry about preparedness? Well, we always need to worry about preparedness, but even more so right at this particular moment. I'm telling you, these people, meaning the Clintons, for instance, and those involved with them, are not going to just go down. Okay? You can bet your ass if the Clintons are about to go down, they're going to take you with them. They're going to take you with them. These people are completely and utterly disgusting human beings. I don't even like to call them human beings. Okay? They have absolutely nothing but contempt for you and I. It is unreal. Unreal. You want to talk about the old hierarchy and us being peasants? Oh my goodness. So, and it was mentioned in, I've been reading like these little news things, whatever you want to call it, paragraphs from a guy on Facebook, and he had talked about, you know, his heightened concern for an EMP and stuff like that during this time because of all this going on. And I chimed in and I said, you know, yeah, possible EMP, but I suspect more of a cyber attack if this is the direction it comes from. And the reason why I suspect more of a cyber attack is because, you know, that's not going to take out the transformers and whatnot. I'm sure some will pop from being overloaded, but the majority of them I think will be functional, especially the big, huge ones that we can't just get next day shipping, right? And so if them brought down the grid with a cyber attack, they could keep it down for however long it was that they needed to, And in the end, they could bring it back up and claim that they saved the day, as well as take back control of our government. I'm not quite so sure they're not in control of it now, but you know what I mean. I really don't know what the hell is going on in our government and who's behind what. Just about the time you think you get something figured out, not even close. Not even close. One of the things dealing with Assange that I just tweeted out not long ago, it'll be near the top, so I'm going to open a new window here. Very frustrating to me. Very, very frustrating. Let's see. Right here. Right here. Let me go ahead and go over this one. Let me have a sip of coffee real quick. That's... I'm telling you. He does bad things, I'll call him out for the bad things. He does good things, I'll call him out for the good things. It's the way it goes. I know nothing about Wikileaks. It's not my thing, says Trump, following Assange's arrest. Do you realize how many times Trump said Wikileaks during his campaign? And how much he loved Wikileaks? And the red team wants to talk about how the blue team uses somebody and then turns on them. May I present Exhibit A? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And what about the whole Whistleblowers Protection Act, right? This is ridiculous. U.S. President Donald Trump, who said he loved WikiLeaks during his election campaign, tried to distance himself from the arrest of Julian Assange, which was carried out by Britain on the request of the U.S. And I would love to know who in the U.S. Speaking to journalists in the Oval Office on Thursday, hours after the arrest of Assange in London, Trump said, "I know nothing about WikiLeaks. It's not my thing." Liar. I can't stand liars. Trump was far less reluctant to speak about the transparency site in 2016 when it played a major role in the U.S. presidential election after it published a number of documents leaked from the Hillary Clinton campaign. Then candidate Trump called the work of the site amazing and said he loved what it was doing. Ironically, those statements were used against Trump by proponents of the now debunked Russiagate conspiracy theory, which said his campaign colluded with the Russian government to steal the election. Russia was accused of hacking into DNC computer networks and releasing stolen documents via WikiLeaks, an allegation that both Moscow and the website deny. Oh, you want to know what the new thing is real quick? I got to tell you what the new thing is. Now, supposedly, Russia has been involved in a campaign for, I guess, a couple of years now or something, kind of feeding into the anti-vax crowd, supposedly, right? And trying to cause disruption in society in the United States. Blue, no. No. Trying to cause a disruption in the United States with society. You know, people being at each other's throats, so to speak. Come on. That's the latest thing. That's the latest thing. And it's nothing but social engineering to put you against Russia so that you will support a war with Russia. But anyway, let's get back to this. Trump officials at one point were accused by the U.S. media of having foreknowledge of the contents of one of the batches of documents published by WikiLeaks. The story soon flopped after it turned out that several outlets, which claimed to be reporting separately, based their reporting on a misread date of a tweet, which was actually sent by a random person to the Trump campaign to draw attention to a fresh release of leaked materials. Wikileaks founder Assange was arrested by the British authorities after his political asylum was stripped by Ecuador and had his citizenship suspended. Police officers were allowed to enter the embassy and drag Assange out, ending his almost 7-year stay at the diplomatic mission. The U.S. wants Assange to be extradited and tried for allegedly conspiring with WikiLeaks source Chelsea Manning in her leak of classified military documents a decade ago. The U.S. indictment dates back to 2017, showing that instead of secretly trying to shield WikiLeaks from U.S. investigations into Trump-Russia allegations, which was the common wisdom of any Russiagators, the White House was secretly trying to get Assange in its custody. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So, people really need to stop and ask themselves who this man is working for. And you need to be honest. You need to be honest. I don't think it's for us. I really do not think it's for us. Folks, this is a dark day. This is a very dark day. I have been watching the war on journalism for quite some time. Whether it be on the street level at protests and police targeting independent news media at protests so that they don't get footage and coverage of what's really going on, the brutality being used against innocent people. You always hear about the rioters and the looters and all that stuff, okay? They're not the ones that the police attack. The police attack the protesters, not the rioters and the looters. And the only way that we can verify that is by these independent journalists that have the courage, and definitely my respect, to have boots on the ground and be there in the thick of it. And police specifically target them. This is crazy. This is crazy. You know, we've sat here in the United States and we've watched different things go on in which different news media that tried covering it came under attack. We even, on a small scale, came under attack during the Malheur Wildlife Refuge. We were mentioned in an article by Oregon Live, and hang on here. Sorry about that. And so we were one of, I think, 2 news agencies that talked to the Final Four when they were holding out, and we had them, I think, on the show for like an hour or something. I would have to go back and look. And so when Oregon Live did an article, they drug us into it, and they more or less said that we were, and I'm saying this verbatim here, I don't remember exactly word for word, but more or less said that we were involved, okay, and we weren't. We weren't whatsoever. You know, I didn't even seek that interview. That interview came to me. That interview came to me because we were honest. We were up front. We weren't going to try to sway anything. we were going to let them speak. That interview came to us because of who it is that we are and what we represent. And I was real quick to correct Mr. Zeitz. Real quick. Because had I not, we could have been drug into that. Because we had no outside affiliation or inside affiliation with any of them, other than covering a story. And if you've got something that you need to get out there, even with the small amount of people we get out to, we'll be more than happy to be that platform. It's not about popularity, it's not about any of that. We want to do the right thing. And there are so many voices that need to get out there that are never given the opportunity. If it wasn't for news media, Malheur Wildlife Refuge would have ended a lot worse than it already did. Guaranteed. Along with many other situations in not so distant past. Standing Rock, and one night you had sub-freezing temperatures that they were spraying water cannons on the protesters, the water protectors. Sub-freezing temperatures, and they're spraying water on them. I believe it was all in the same night that Susie lost an eye, and another young lady pretty well lost an arm. And that was with news media covering it on the ground. Could you imagine if they wouldn't have been there? I mean, if that isn't brutal enough, could you imagine? They don't want you seeing what they're doing. And that goes from them all the way at the bottom, all the way up to the top. From the law enforcement arm to the presidential administration and beyond. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to know. It's a dark day. And it affects every single one of us. I don't have any answers. Other than get out there and raise hell, make your voice heard. I think we have successfully stopped several things in recent past from happening. We the people. Not we the Watchman News. We the people. There have been several things that have happened in the recent past that, because of the outrage, spurred positive results. I hope we can do it again. You've got some people out there trying to pawn this off as saying, oh, Trump's just playing 453D chess. Bullshit. Bullshit. They're going to hang that man up to dry. The only thing I can think of is if we raise hell. I mean, people like him should be given medals. Absolutely insane. Anyway, let me go ahead and read through the headlines. Like I said, a lot of them are going to be Assange related. So, starting out from first this morning, Wikileaks founder Julian Assange arrested in London, says the UK police. Watch Julian Assange dragged out of Ecuadorian embassy and arrested. By the way, from my understanding, there's people that's been getting their accounts suspended on Twitter for tweeting out that video. Situation outside of Ecuador's embassy in London after Assange's arrest. There's a video. Julian Assange exposed to great crimes and now great crime committed against him, says George Galloway, and I concur. Dark moment for press freedom. Edward Snowden responds to Assange arrest. Let's see. Our growing family tree. New human ancestor discovered in Philippines cave. I thought that was kind of interesting science news. Not quite sure I would call it an ancestor just yet, but okay. I don't get the whole we came from monkeys thing, so I don't believe that. Pence evokes Hitler's Germany in Venezuela debate. Russia warns against provocation. So that is still heating up too. We can't forget any of these things, folks. We have to keep our eye on multiple balls here. Ukrainian adventurism in Black Sea risks pulling NATO into war with Russia, says senators. Russiagate pushing Democrats call Attorney General Barr's spying claim conspiracy theory. Pro-life Texas bill allowing death penalty for abortions gets marathon House hearing. Parkland victims file 22 lawsuits claiming negligence led to bloodshed. And by the way, those lawsuits are going against, some of them at least, are going against Broward County, or as I call it, Coward County Sheriff's Office. So, Maduro reaches agreement with Red Cross on aid deliveries after extraordinary meeting. Alexa, who's eavesdropping on me? Thousands of humans reportedly audit snippets from Amazon devices. Folks, seriously, if you've got anything like, what are they, the Alexa or Google Home or any of the Crapple stuff, take a hammer to it. If you have any idea of what's good for you, you will destroy that device. 235 children perish in unbearable Syrian refugee camp controlled by U.S. allies, says the Russian Ministry of Defense. Let's see. Facebook's war on India. Analyst sues tech giant for subverting polls with selective censorship. Nah, they wouldn't do that, would they? Nah. Russia's Arctic shipping route to attract over $11 billion in investments. I'm telling you, they are building. They are building. Big time. Big tech firms pay taxes nowhere, and it has to change, says the German Vice Chancellor. Russia hopes Assange's rights will be respected beyond arrest, says Kremlin. Let's see. Everyone except U.S. Experts praise joint efforts at Arctic Forum. I was just kind of peeking over there. Yeah, we don't. Where we are getting the kratom, if that's what you're talking about, kids lacing fireplug. We're getting it from a very, very, very reputable source. So, unfortunately, like 30 minutes away from us. So right over in St. Louis. So, yeah, we're not just getting it from any old Joe Blow. So. I'm like that. Anytime I get involved in something, I do as much research and sourcing as I can. Let's see. Assange arrested in relation to U.S. extradition warrant, says the UK police. Let's see. Howdy, Aaron, and hi everybody, by the way. Sorry, I'm beat. I am like tuckered. Assange arrest final step in character assassination campaign, says Slajov Zizek. I'm sure I got that name like miles wrong. Assange's Ecuadorian citizenship has been suspended, says Ecuador's foreign minister. Non-binary driver's license gender option bill passes Illinois House. I mean, Illinois is so done. UK, you are America's bitch. Pamela Anderson launches scathing tweet storm following Assange arrest. And I normally don't agree with Pamela Anderson or none of her nonsense. But yeah. But at the same time, we're the UK's bitch. So, you know, it's definitely a favor that gets repaid back and forth. Witch hunts, book burnings, and the Inquisition are back. Kim.com says Assange, hero for the ages. And I would agree. Assange charged with conspiring with Chelsea Manning in 2010, says a Department of Justice statement. Assange charged with helping Manning crack password to leak classified U.S. documents, says the Department of Justice statement. Department of Injustice. Assange arrest absolutely disgusting and could be a tit for tat, says a former MI5 agent to RT. Assange pleads not guilty to failing to surrender to bail. Walmart robot janitors will mop floors, scan shelves, sort items, and more. Folks, I'm telling you, I've been saying this for a long time because they've been blaming the people wanting to make an actual living wage. They've been blaming those people that think that if they work, they should be able to afford to live, right? Of the reason for this influx of automation. And I was telling you from the beginning, and in fact, I've been saying this long before I even did this show. I've been saying this stuff for over 10 years, that automation was going to take over, and it was going to put us, we the people, in a very bad spot. Very, very bad spot. We're already in a bad enough spot because of huge big box store retailers like Walmart. That put us in a bad enough spot as it is, but the fact that our manufacturing has gone to hell, while we're buying all these cheap Chinese goods and from other countries as well. Okay? So how many bad spots can you put the American people and keep that fiat currency propped up? Not good, folks. Not good. And by the way, I've heard the excuse on when it comes to this stuff. Well, you just have to move with the times. Like, in this case, let me have a sip of coffee. In this case, you just have to, learn to work on robots, learn to build robots, learn to design robots. Do you realize that, if you compare the amount of people it would take to maintain these robots and to build them and all that, in comparison to the amount of people it takes to perform all these functions? Not even close. The offset is not even in the same ballpark. UK grateful to Ecuador for paving way to snatch Assange as arrest blasted by activists. Assange's critics and journalists having a field day on Twitter after whistleblower's arrest. UK court finds Assange guilty of skipping bail. Surprise, surprise, right? UK Prime Minister Theresa May welcomes news of Assange's arrest. Swedish prosecutor could reopen Assange rape case following London arrest. Like I said, it already come out that he wasn't even anywhere near the same location when the claim was made. Assange's prosecution would be unconstitutional and may backfire on U.S. journalists, says the ACLU. UN human rights expert to visit Assange in privacy violations probe. No journalist will be safe from extradition to the U.S. for doing his job, warns the Wikileaks editor. 5 years for attempt to crack a password. Journalists, whistleblowers slam U.S. Assange charge. I know nothing about WikiLeaks. I already went over that one. Let's see. No fair trial awaits Assange at U.S. espionage court. Only more charges, says CIA whistleblower Kirikou. And I'm sure I said his name wrong. Arrest of Julian Assange met with cheers from UK lawmakers in Parliament. Not much of a surprise there either. Impartial trial, UK judge brands Julian Assange narcissist in courtroom. Kind of sounds like our courtrooms. And lastly here, Bolivian president condemns persecution of Assange over U.S. murders and spying. Now, I do see a little number 3 up there. Let me take a peek and see. Assange arrest reveals British justice is just a plaything of Washington. So that can get added to that. Anyway, I'm going to close up the monologue and we're going to go ahead and get into content here. Oh my goodness. This is insane. Like I said, a dark day. Very, very dark day for alternative media. This could spread far and wide, the implications from this. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close up the monologue. If you're here for the live show, don't do anything, don't go anywhere. This is just how I close up the monologue every day. If you're here just for the monologue or you're watching a recording thereof, thank you very much. Please remember, if you so choose, if you use Amazon, please use our Amazon link in the description of the video. It's much appreciated. As always, God bless you. We love you and be one with your spirit.